Plaintiff Valeria Baker says her 15-year-old daughter was shot at a concert, and 10 days later she passed away. Valeria claims the day after they buried her, the defendant was recklessly driving his motorcycle and crashed into her car. So she's suing. Defendant Justin Campbell is a rapper in Mobile, Alabama, and he tries to use his rhymes to spread a positive message throughout the community. Justin admits that he crashed his motorcycle, but he denies hitting Valeria's car, so he refuses to pay.
Start with you.
On April the 1st, my daughter went to a spring break concert for teens. And, that night of April the 1st, I got a phone call from one of her friends and asked, was I Anissa's mom? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, what's wrong? And so she just informed me that Anissa had been shot. She and 4 other kids were shot. And she ended up being the worst one. But she lived 10 days after that, and on April 11th, she passed away.
Sorry,
and we buried her on April the 17th. She had gotten shot in the side by a little boy who had been out on bail for shooting up another kid's
How old was he?
party. He probably was 18 at the time, but when he shot Anissa, he was 19 years old. And so he was out on bail, and he came in the club. There was over 400 kids in this club at this concert, and he shot in the crowd, and she was one of the 5 that got shot. But she ended up, we got to spend 10 more days with her before she passed away. And so,
He's in prison?
we haven't been to trial yet, but he is locked up.
All right, you want to give me some background?
Well, Judge, my name is Justin Campbell. I love my godmother so very much. And, I try to do the right thing, try to keep people out of trouble. I'm a local rapper in my city. And I try to spread
Local rapper?
Yes, sir. And I try to spread the right message, do the right thing. Because that concert, that could have been one of my concerts that happened to my god sister. I could have been the one performing at that concert. And I just tried to
Who was the guy? Did you know anything about him?
Not much. I just know he was a younger guy from the city. And
You see him around? No.
Yeah, I've seen him before. When they showed me his face, I had seen him before. But I don't know him, though. I don't know him.
He was just a thug with a gun? Pretty much?
Pretty much.
Not even a drug dealer or nothing, just a thug with a gun.
Thug with a
And that's
gun.
what people need to recognize. Most of the guys who engage in gunfire and violence is not over money. It's over little stuff. It's over beefs. You looked at my girlfriend, you said something, all the things that would have resulted in fist fights in years past, they now are gunfights.
Right.
Because they have so much access to guns and they have an inclination to violence for whatever reason. It could be because one of the forms of resolving disputes that many people are taught throughout their lives is you resolve it through violence. Fist fight. You got a problem with somebody, you fight it out.
Right.
Now you got a problem with somebody, you shoot it out. Same thing, I'm trying to resolve this dispute, just resolving it in the wrong way. It's learned behavior, and some would suggest that it's learned at home when parents try to resolve disputes through violence, through spankings. Well, that's teaching your child to resolve disputes by violence, in a violent manner. And it used to be fights, and now it's guns. All right. How does he owe you $1,000, ma'am? And I'm so sorry to hear that your daughter was a victim of senseless violence.
Oh, yeah, but we're trying to do something positive. We started a nonprofit organization in her name, and it's called the Anissa Baker Movement. She was that girl. She was the mentor to her peers, which I found out after she passed. And, I read all her Facebook posts and stuff, and she was a great girl. Anissa Baker was, as some of her friends say, a hero. And so hopefully we'll be able to educate some kids and try to train their minds and thoughts to, try to handle situations a bit different, because it's terrible where we're from with the gun violence.
Where are you all from?
Mobile, Alabama. Yeah.
It's terrible in all the urban communities around the country. A lot of it is economic deprivation. All the companies and the jobs have moved out of the city and left a poor education system, poor people. If you have a poor education system and no jobs, you're gonna be in poverty, and poverty breeds violence, frustration, anger.
Yeah.
Folks ask a lot of times why inner city kids at some fast food restaurants, they're not as nice as they should be or polite. They're always acting like they're mad.
Okay.
They're mad because of the conditions they're living in. And it dawned on me, okay, these are inner city poor kids who live in homes that are dysfunctional. Yeah, they stay mad. Because you go out into the suburbs and the more privileged areas, those kids at the restaurant, hi, ha, what you want, sir? You go to some community, what? I don't even feel like all this. What? $2.20.
Extra sauce?
I mean $2.50. It's $2.20 or $2.50, man. Whatever it is, just please give me the money. Ain't nobody got time for this. I know what I'm talking about, though, don't I?
I know what you're talking about. They mad at you that they work there.
Right. So how does he owe you $1,000?
So after we buried Anissa on April the 17th, and I was at Justin and his mom's house, and Justin had a motorcycle, and he and someone was outside. I think his stepdad. They were discussing Anissa, and because they hadn't caught the guy who shot her yet, and he was getting a little hot-headed outside, popping wheelies, and he popped one and got the motorcycle got away from him, and he hit my car and dented it on the passenger side by the gas tank.
And you saw it, or you were told?
Well, I was told when he came in the house because he had fallen and he scraped up his whole hand. It was all about his hand. So I was like, well, Justin, did you hit my car? And so he was like, oh, I messed up my hand real bad. I scraped
Avoided
up all
that question, huh?
Yeah. So I was like, Justin, well, did you hit my car? So at first he said no. And so after, because we were in there about to put some food, some meat on the grill and cook out. And so when I went outside, I saw it, and I saw some scuff marks on the bottom of the grill. And I went back and I was like, Justin, didn't I ask you if you hit my car? And you told me you didn't. He was like, well, it's just a small dent. It didn't even chip the paint. Can't you get some hot water and get a plunger and pop it out? And I was like, baby, you've been watching too much YouTube.
When was the last time you asked? What has he said?
He said, yeah, he had hit it. And I was like, well, you're going to have to pay for that.
You have the estimate?
I did.
What do you say, sir?
I told her, I don't think I hit it, really.
You don't think.
Cause
Did you crash the motorcycle or not?
that's what I'm saying. I crashed, so I don't know what happened. I crashed.
All right, well, let's believe her. She does know. You don't know, and she does. And she brings an estimate. What's your emotional distress for?
Because I just had been through so much with Anissa, and this was an added expense that's so unnecessary. An $800 expense, which I thought it would have cost more, but it didn't, luckily. And
yeah, unfortunately,
just been
we
through a
can't
lot.
hold him liable. However, if it was directly related, for example, his actions had to do with your late daughter, then yes, but this didn't have anything to do with that. $800 is your judgment. Have a good day.
well, I'm just glad that Justin owned up to his accident, and I just wished he had have paid me and that we would not have had to come here, and he would not have been getting more tattoos and buying gold chains, and could have paid me my monies.
Well, I feel like I love her so much that if it was me, I wouldn't even care. I would have just been glad that your well-being is okay.
I did care. I tended to your hand.
No, the first thing she said was, how's my car? I had skin hanging from my hand. I was really messed up.